In the last video, we looked at Deuteronomy 1:1. We saw the beginning of the book. These are the words which Moses spoke to all of Israel in the across area of the Jordan, in the wilderness, in the Arava or the desert area, in front of Suf, between Paran and between Tophel and Lavan and Hazarot and Di-Zahav. Today we look at verse 2. And this verse starts off a little weird. It starts off a little strange. This isn't our ordinary word order for a Hebrew sentence. We start off with Achad, Asar. Achad, Asar. Achad is 1. Asar is 10. This is how Hebrew says the word 11. So for 11, it's 1, 10. So 1 plus 10, essentially. Achad Asar Yom. 11 days, and probably the way to read this is to look at Echad Asar Yom as our subject, and then this being a verbless clause. There is no main verb. There is no verb at all in this sentence. But 11 days being our subject, and then we would say something in English like 11 days are, or there are 11 days, Me Choreb, or Chorev, so from Horeb. This is Mount Horeb, Sinai, essentially. It is 11 days, or there are 11 days, from Horeb, Derek Har Seir. All right? Derek Har Seir. Derek here, this is the word for way. It's going to be in construct with Har Seir. So basically this would be the way of the Mount of Seir, or the way of Mount Seir. This is going to function a little bit like an adverbial accusative. This is a feature that Hebrew has where usually in English we would use an adverb to describe or to modify a verb, or to modify, I guess here we don't have a verb that we're modifying, but this would sort of be like saying according to the way, or by the way of Mount. If you go by the way of Mount Seir. So the journey would include Mount Seir is the idea here. So if you go according to, if you include Mount Seir in your journey, it is 11 days from Horeb, Ad. Ad means to or until. Chadesh Barnea. All right, Chadesh Barnea. This is another location. And so this is just more direction regarding the journey of the Israelites from Mount Sinai to where they're at now. So grammatically speaking, a couple things to pay attention to. First of all, Achad. This is the construct form of Echad. This is what Echad looks like in its lexical form. But when it's in construct, this is how we form the number 11. Looking at Asar here, this is the absolute form. There are a few forms that the word for 10 can take, but I think this is the one that's most common as far as what I've seen. So this, again, it just means 10. And I'm going to see, here we go. Achad Asar, that means 11. So we've got that. It doesn't list Deuteronomy 1:2, but it does list Deuteronomy 1:3. So maybe we'll see this again. All right, so we've got 11 Yom. It is a little bit strange that we have Yom here in the singular. We would expect 11 days rather than 11 day. But if we look at Juan Maroca, we can see Deuteronomy 1:2 referenced here under the attributive accusative of limitation. This is saying that it's basically like reading this as it is 11 with respect to day. So with respect to how many days it is 11. I know that sounds really awkward in English, but this is a feature that they also note in, that type of feature in several verses here. They've also got a note here in section 142E about the numerals, and let's just go there real quick. About the formation and use of these numerals, the noun which follows is most of the time in the plural, in apposition. Well, it is in apposition here, but it's in the singular. However, it is often in the singular, probably the accusative of limitation, which is what we just saw, in the case of some particularly common nouns, and yom is one of those. So I know it looks unnatural here, but that's basically what's going on. Let's look at the word mechorev here. Mechorev has two parts. We've got chorev, which is Horeb, the mountain, Mount Sinai, and then me on the front. Me is the preposition men. So when we look at mechorev here, the me is the min preposition. And what has happened here is the noon of the memhiric noon, that noon wants to assimilate into the next letter, the chet. The problem is chet is a guttural, and so it rejects the noon because a guttural can't take a dagesh. And so what we get is the hiric compensates for the loss of the noon by lengthening to a sere. All right, so we go from min to me. Min chorev to mechorev. And so we've got from Horeb, again, derek har seir. This is functioning to modify, I suppose it could be modifying mechorev, from Horeb according to the way of Seir. And then the preposition ad kadesh barnea. Here we see a furtive patach in the ayin. That's because the ayin likes to have an A-class vowel. And so if you didn't have that, you'd have the sere right before. So the ayin wants to sneak an A-class vowel in there, and that's what we call the furtive patach.